AFTV has partnered with Raffle and we're giving you a chance to win 2 luxury VIP tickets to the Arsenal v Chelsea game worth over £1,500. It's just £10 entry and we've got a limited 250 tickets. Tickets for a chance to attend your dream matchday experience go on sale on February the 24th, so click the link below. Stay tuned for the drop because once they're gone, they're gone. Hi and welcome along to the Invincible podcast. Don't forget to get your tickets there for that Raffle draw, £10, and you could be going to watch Arsenal versus Chelsea VIP style. You mingle with Julian, right? He loves a bit of VIP. We got in a building Lee and we got Julian, and we're here to talk Arsenal as we always do. What do you look at me like that? You like VIP?
I didn't hear about this VIP tickets.
Yeah,
so does that mean if they win it, they're going to be next to me in VIP? So that means I get a ticket?
No, you don't get a ticket. What it is, you can enter it. You spend £10 to enter it.
Right.
And there's 250 tickets, and you stand a chance of winning the 2 tickets.
And you can buy as many tickets as you want.
Yeah, if you want.
Okay.
Well, it's worth going.
Yeah, I'll have to work the odds out and what the cost is.
Draws next week. It's out next week. So sorry, you'll be able to purchase them next week. So but yeah, VIP.
You could actually buy a ticket for £10.
Yeah.
Right. Put your tickets on exchange and have a profit. You know what I mean? And VIP.
That's if you win it.
Yeah, if you win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, aren't we lucky, aren't we?
Well,
hold on, wait. Listen, you lot like a bunch of ticket touts on the.
No,
what's going
on the exchange. You actually get less money on the exchange by putting it on.
Yeah,
we're doing it properly.
Yeah, and also if you go on exchange, you don't lose any of your stuff. Like,
see how their mind works. Everyone, people now, they want to go enjoy the day, enjoy the VIP and that. You lot trying to come up with some scheme to make extra money.
Well,
dodgy characters, man. Dodgy characters. Well,
listen, we like a bit of VIP, don't we?
And we like not paying for it.
Welcome along. You know what? Straight to the chase, man. Liverpool. And they're panicking a bit. It's sort of, last few games of Liverpool, man, been a bit panicky. They had that game against Wolves. Everybody thought that'd be, light work. It weren't. They just about got over the line and really nervous at the end. You know what I mean? Van Dijk and Arne Slot said, a bit nervy, right? And then the Aston Villa game, go away to Aston Villa. But by the way, they've got an unbelievable record against Aston Villa. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I see that. Brooks won there the most times at Villa Park in their history.
But a 2-2 draw, again, points drop. Now the scenario is Arsenal play West Ham. Got a game in hand now.
Yep.
Game in hand. They had the game in hand. I remember that game in hand against Everton. That was another draw. Last minute goal against them. Another draw for them in a game that got a good record they have against Everton. You would expect the way Liverpool are playing for them to have won that. But the game in hand went. Now, if Arsenal was to beat West Ham, 5 points is the gap.
Oh, yeah, which is doable, and also we've still got to go to Anfield, so potentially we could. It's in our own hands to bring it down to 2. Potentially,
5 points would be the gap.
Yeah.
Before they played Man City at the weekend. Man City, of course, destroyed by Real Madrid. Not
quite.
Last game, Man City at home. They beat Newcastle 4-0. Are you starting to see a little glimmer at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's always been that glimmer because I didn't think it's over. But you said it's points dropped. In one way, it is. But I don't think it's a bad result when you're going for the championship to then get a point at Villa Park. That's a really difficult game, and I thought it was quite even. I didn't think they looked nervous. I thought it was 2 good teams. And I don't think they played particularly badly. And the same with Everton. I didn't think they were particularly bad. Everton are on form. They also raised their game. It was definitely their cup final, and they did score in the last minute. I think the game where they looked nervy was the second half of the Wolves game.
Yeah, that's what I say. I totally agree with that because I was going to say exactly the same. I was impressed with them last night. I was impressed with them, but I wasn't against Wolves. I thought they looked edgy, nervous against Wolves. But yesterday I thought they 2-1 down, they could have crumbled a little bit, and they didn't. And I think that they'll look back at that and go, that's a point gained. So, and listen, they've dropped 4 points in their last 2 away games, but
But have they, or have they got 2
Well,
points?
That's the thing. But from our point of view, we needed that to happen. But what it's done is, I think that you look at Everton away. That's like us going to Tottenham away and then going to Aston Villa, which is a difficult game. You expect them to drop points, but now. You know what I mean? It's important that we win our game. Let's get that right.
This season, when we've had those really difficult games away, we went to Villa and won. We went to Tottenham and in our local derby, which is we know derby games are always tough, and we won those games as well. So, and I think with Liverpool, listen, even though outwardly, Arne Slot or players will look on it in a cold light of day and say, actually, not a bad point. But then I do feel that they looked at those last couple of games and said, we win those. Especially that one against
100%.
Everton, because that was the game in hand. And if they won that game, I think they would have been 10 points ahead. And they would have been out of sight. And then the game yesterday, I was listening to a lot of Liverpool fans. They were saying, we win that game.
Yeah, 10 points.
We're 10 points ahead of Arsenal, right? Putting pressure on them going into their game on Saturday against West Ham. But they've dropped points in both of those 2 games. And I think they kind of let us back in a bit. I thought a couple of weeks ago, I was like, yeah, we hope. But now there's actually, you can actually kind of look at it and say there is a way in which we could draw it back in. It is still not in our hands, but there's a way in which if we was to keep winning, we could draw it back in, like you said, because we faced them at Anfield.
Yeah. And we haven't won there for years, and that would be the time to go win there.
Yeah. The problem that we've got is further down the line is we've got Man United coming up away from home in between the Champions League games. Yeah, then if we get through that Champions League game,
let's be real. That's not the Man United.
No disrespect.
But it's always tough when you go there, but that is not. Going to Villa Park is harder than going to.
100%. What I'm saying is, I don't know when the next. Because I haven't looked that far. But if we get through the next round, there'll be another game in between those 2 games, and we haven't got the rotation that I think that we should have, like particularly up front. We you know what I mean, like so. For instance, in that game, one of those games, we're going to have to rotate some of the strikers in it. That could be some of the strikers, one of our strikers. You know what I mean, to get through. Like, I think at the end of the day, Martinelli coming back has got to be is a key for us now.
But we're not going to get him before the Man United game. It'll be after the international break.
Yeah, so we're going to. So those 3 games now we've got to navigate. It'll be away first leg, won't it? And then we play Man United and then the home game. Yeah. So when you can't really rotate anybody in that thing that's the concern for me, and that's where I'm still bloody annoyed about the transfer window. If we would have just done it, because we've said it all along that Liverpool aren't like the Man City. They've got vulnerabilities in their team, like as we see yesterday. They should have won it in the end with the chance missed by Nunes.
Daniel Marlin had a chance at the end.
Yeah, but not as easy as that one. When I see that game,
I mean, the hardest thing was getting.
Why he didn't take it himself, I don't know. Sabosco, why he didn't take it himself, I don't know.
But then he's.
He's put it on a plate.
He's put it on a plate. He's missed an open goal. That was Ronnie Rosenthal. It was awful. It was awful. And we criticised.
Mikel Marino would have buried that.
Yeah, he would have done.
I'd have been disappointed.
Then, could you imagine if Havertz had done something like that? How Arsenal fans would have reacted to it. It would have been ridiculous.
Mind you, Havertz has had a couple like that as well.
Yeah, but then he gets criticised for it.
He wasn't £90 million though, was he?
No. I mean, the guy couldn't score
60 million down the drain.
Yeah.
They got 90 million gone down the drain.
I mean, that was just awful.
I can't believe he missed that. I mean, he's see, that's the thing, I keep saying, for Arsenal to win this title, I still feel there has to be a bit of adversity. It has to be like a few games at least where they're relying on people like him and not Salah. Because if that's Salah, we know.
He come up again and done the business, didn't he? I thought again, I don't know about you, listen, I'm not criticising him when I say this, right? I think it's a compliment, and I'm putting it out there, it's a compliment to him, right? I felt he was quiet in the game again, and then all of a sudden, 2 moments, he creates creates the one for Trent. Brilliant bit of play, and he scores. He's in there to score the goal.
No, he's absolute quality.
Other than that, you don't see enough. But when it matters, he's there. So what I'm saying is to take him out of the equation for 3 or 4 games. When it matters, he's not there.
Yeah, he's a difference maker.
I
Because
think
even
he is.
because the thing is, right, we're going on about Darwin Núñez, Jota. He missed a couple of sitters as well yesterday. That one when he was
nearly
clean
hit the corner
through,
flag.
where he just I was just expecting that to go right in the corner.
He should be in the old swimming team.
Is that a bit of nerves? That's what I'm saying. Is that a little bit of nerves with players like Jota, players like Núñez missing those chances?
Can I ask a question? How did he not get booked for that dive the other day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when you hear
that
these
is
referees and Howard Webb coming out, oh, the referee has no choice but to send off. Well, he had no choice but to book him there.
Have they taken that rule away, simulation?
I don't know.
Or is it still there?
No, it's still there.
Well, if it's
what?
still there,
So during the week in the Champions League at AC Milan, which ultimately that cost them, and it was the right decision by the referee. One of their players, I think it was is it Hernandez. He was on a yellow card
when he dived,
and he ran through and dived. The referee gave him a second yellow. He got sent off in about the 50th minute, and that's what cost them that game against Feyenoord. But, right, so I mean, of course he can still do it.
Blatant dive. Even his manager comes out and says this. Well, it was, you know what I mean. But so why haven't they booked him for that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the Canate one was another one in that game against. Should have been booked. You know, choice when it comes to Arsenal.
I feel they need a little adversity. They need because the 2 key players in that team, right, are Salah and also Van Dijk. They're the 2 key guys. They're the 2 guys that you think, if they were out for a couple of weeks, you know. Now, obviously, I always say I don't wish injuries on nobody or nothing like that, but if one of them was out, and that is the problem. I'm with you, Lee, right, where I still get very angry as to why, and I'm still baffled and amazed that the team was not strengthened in January.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
Because now you're seeing a little opening there. Now imagine now if, you know, we're still not, even after last week, the game against Leicester, Mikel Marino scoring those goals, and it was fantastic and everything like that, and he took those.
It was only fantastic the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, but he took those finishes brilliantly, right? But when we go into the game against West Ham, we're still not sure, you know, who's going to play up front, who's striker. They've left us so short. I just still so baffled about it that Aston Villa, you know, are playing, you know, they brought in Rashford, they brought in Marco Asensio, you know what I mean, and pick players like that, and we brought nobody in. They brought in Donnell Marlon. That's 3 attacking players they brought in. We didn't bring in one. They cannot tell me that there was not one person they couldn't have found. Like even Tottenham brought in Tell, you know what I mean? They cannot tell me that. And then if we get close, right, points-wise, and we end up falling short, they have got some serious questions to answer come the end of the season. Really do. They were not giving the manager the tools. Or I don't know, was he involved in it as well? But whoever it was, not having the tools to get the job done.
Yeah, but I don't see how, especially after the Leicester game, we can sit here and be too critical, because what they've showed up to this point, and you have to make the judgment at the end of the season, is that they had the internal resource available to them. They didn't need to bring someone else in.
They didn't even know he was...
They did know. You can't say...
He said
he'd never played there.
He'd never played there before, and he said that he was told in the morning. So was he lying there?
Yes.
100%
Why do you think he's lying?
Because they're playing it down. They knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, we predicted... The fact that I predicted Marino would go up front, if I'm predicting it, they know. Oh, what a surprise. Oh, I just happened to find myself up front for Arsenal with only 5 minutes notice.
Why did he start there then?
Because they wanted to give Sterling an opportunity, and it's not working out for Sterling. But the other side of it is Sterling's going to have to be involved at some point. So you've got to decide, is he someone that's going to be better off coming off the bench and making an impact, or starting and bringing Marino off the bench?
Do you feel that's enough, yeah? Those are the internal thing. You think you're talking like they pulled some sort of masterclass.
It's not a masterclass.
They've left us short.
But all I am saying is that up to this point, and we've seen it for one game, and all I'm saying is I'm not making judgment. You've already condemned it. That you've condemned them, that they haven't done enough. We've lost the league because of it. All I'm saying is that I haven't made the judgment yet.
We lost the league because of it.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't say we've lost the league. I said if we fall short, that'll be the reason.
But you've already said that we are going to fall short because we haven't got any strikers and we've lost the league because we didn't strengthen it in January. And what I'm saying...
Do you think it's enough?
No. What I'm saying is that I will make the judgment when it happens. This isn't... I saw a film years ago, Minority Report, where you get... Have you ever seen it? Where
it's a good film, that is.
Yeah, where you actually get prosecuted for something that you're going to do in the future. And it almost feels like you're in this Minority Report. You're condemning them before it's happened. It hasn't happened. Hasn't happened yet.
To me, yeah, if we went on and won the league and everything, right, I'd give the manager full respect for, you know, making a cake out of, you know what I mean, with limited ingredients, right, to be able to do the job, right? I would not give the board any credit. I'd be like, you gambled. You basically had an absolute gamble. You got lucky. That's what would be my opinion.
I also think, Rob, that, you know, Arteta's had a say in that as well. Like, you know what I mean? He would have come down and said, you know what, I've got Marino. He might be able to do it, blah, blah, blah. I don't think Arsenal will cost the title. They could actually go, and Marino is very, very similar to Havertz, so we haven't really losing too much in there, if I'll be really honest. His finishing maybe even better than Havertz, what I've seen in the first game, because they were two unbelievable finishes. What I'm saying is that it's not necessarily that decision. I think it's a decision where, right, okay, what have we got to back that up now in the next 4 or 5 days? That is the key, and that
he should be the backup.
Well,
Marino should be the backup. Not should have went out
someone
there.
Else. They gambled on probably like that. If we honestly sat there, you probably sat in that room and said, "Look, if anything happens to Havertz, which probably won't happen because of his whatever, I've got Marino that can come in and do that."
What was the word they called him about 2 minutes before he went? No, it was more than that. He was some sort of
Superman or something.
He come up with some saying, and then 5 minutes later
he goes training and he goes down at light. But that is something that they should have just thought of. We need somebody else on the you know, after that transfer. Don't forget. Martinelli's gone down as well, right? So that's where it will. They have gambled on that. They have
it's complete gamble. I'm not giving. You know, I'm not really going to throw out no credit. It's like complete gamble with our season, and I don't think it's right. I think, you know, I think when you're a big club like Arsenal, you don't gamble. You've got to be more meticulous in your planning. You had a chance in January to bring in reinforcements, to bring in players that, if these little things like what we're seeing happening at the moment with Liverpool, it's just a glimmer. They're still massive favourites to win it. We know that, right? And you know, they still probably will go on win it, right? Probabilities say. But if these things arise, now you can take advantage of it, right? Yeah. But you're still very unsure, even with a little glimmer, if Arsenal would have the capability of, you know, are we going to have enough goals to beat West Ham? Do we have enough firepower to go, you know, when we play Nottingham Forest, who are a very, very good defensive team? Do we have that player to unlock, you know, who's going to get that goal, you know, might only get 1 or 2 chances? They've just completely gambled on it. I don't think it's acceptable.
No, I don't. And also, I think that what you're forgetting is the Champions League. You know what I mean? Like,
and you got that.
We're in with a good chance of Champions League. I look at the Champions League. I don't know if you see the game between Celtic. Celtic haven't got the firepower that Arsenal have, and you know what I mean. But they defended well, and so we've got that in our structure.
They still have more than one forward player.
Yeah, but
take one off and bring on
exactly
another.
That. And what I'm saying is, Arsenal could go in the Champions League and be very, very defensive, and we have got one of the best defences in Europe. We've got a very, very good midfield, and get a result. But if you just think you had that little bit of firepower, you could go on and do well in that as well. Like, so it is a big gamble. I don't care. And even Julian knows that as well.
Throwing it to that game, right? I mean, Harry Kane had to come off because he was. They bring on Leroy Sané. They bring on Kingsley Coman. You know what I mean? What are we going to bring on? That's what I'm saying.
That is the problem.
Complete gamble.
And that's the reason why, if we don't have those options, we have to change the way we play. We need to have a
But we could have had
plan
them.
B.
Could have went and bought. Or loaned.
But the other part of it is that they made the decision, which I'm not going to condemn them for yet. This is the difference, is you've condemned them before it's actually happened.
Yeah, well, I think you can condemn them for that.
I'm condemning them.
No, I mean, I'll
seriously, you're a season ticket holder. You spend a lot of money. You're happy with what they've done in January? Come on, be honest.
I will be happy if they win the league. I'll be unhappy if they don't. Now, if they believe and they know better than all of us, they see the players in training, and I'm with you with this Marino thing, and I think that was incredibly naive of you to think that he knew.
Well, actually, no. You're speculating on something you don't even know.
I'm speculating.
How do you know?
But
what do you mean naive of me? Do you know? I'm going by what the guy said. The guy said that in the morning I was told...
Why he has said that, I don't know.
Right? He said that in the morning I'm told I'm going to be playing a striker.
Yeah.
That's what he said, right? I'm going by what he said.
Yeah, and he also said that he...
And we've never seen him play as a striker before at Arsenal.
Yeah, and he also said that he hadn't bought his wife a Valentine's present. She'd be happy with that. Because I came home and I didn't buy my girlfriend a Valentine's present. And I said, look, here's yours. Let's watch Match of the Day. So it doesn't really work out like that. He was lying. He was joking.
How do you know? You're speculating.
It's obvious if you watch football, which we all do, that he could play up front. Of all the players that were there, he would be the one that would play up front. And the way you talk about being meticulous is they practice for so many things. They would have known he would have been playing. He would have been set up to play. He would have known that he's coming on to play centre forward.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And the other thing is, the one thing I will say is, I don't think, don't matter how much practicing you do, don't know how much training you do, when it comes to the when it matters, those goals that he took.
He knew how to do it, didn't it? It's not as if,
he's technically a very good player. We know that.
I thought the second goal, by the way,
the way he peeled away the arc
made it look a lot easier than it actually was.
Yeah, it's a great goal.
Brilliant.
Listen,
finish.
He's technically a good player. We've seen him even in the Euros.
That's his best performance.
Yeah.
By Arsenal by a long shot. 20 minutes of he looked a player.
Yeah,
even in the Euros. Remember, like his header. He's very good in the air. You know, I mean, he's a good player, but
he could have snatched it at Rob.
Yeah,
he could have snatched it at.
Like what Havertz has done, where we've seen him come off his shoulder and stuff like that. But to me, I still say, right, that these guys have gambled to do right. You, in any walk of life, right, you don't gamble like that. If we were mid-table and they would have done what they've done, I would have accepted it. But they say that we really got nothing to play for, save the money till the summer. But look now, we can see over the last couple of games that there's a possible opening. Like I said, if we go and we beat West Ham on Saturday, it's down to 5 points. If they were to lose their game against Man City, it's now 5 points with a game in hand.
Yeah.
Right? Now imagine now if you've gone out and you bought someone in and you've got Marino and you've got this, and all of a sudden now, but no. Yeah, but we just gambled. Maybe because we didn't think we're going to, it's almost to me like these owners or, you know, whoever thought to himself, oh, maybe we've got no chance of winning it. No, man, it's unacceptable.
No, the one thing I will say, and if it was that good in training, why didn't they start with it? Because it was chalk and cheese how different we was as a.
There's no focal point.
But
was
70 points,
it
70
is
minutes.
At times when the game.
I'm going to go. That game opens up. I agree with that lot. But 70 minutes of that game, we was woeful. I've actually looked back on it and thought, you know, I'm going to give Leicester a bit of credit. They defended very, very well.
Yeah.
They worked on it and made sure that they defensively played very, very well. And as it opened up, there was a decision in there, and I thought this is pivot to poignant to the game, was after 70 minutes, Van Nistelrooy would have said, you know what, a point's still good for us. You know what I mean? So they never went for it. A little bit like Aston Villa, yes, they went for it a little bit. So they still stuck into that game plan, where it was then become important that we had to win that game. And that 20 minutes was vital. It was, and he come on, and so from the pressure of everything and whatever, it was, I don't know, lucky, masterstroke, or whatever you want to say. It is something that I'll be very, very surprised now if he doesn't start against.
Well, yeah, I wanted to ask that.
West Ham, very
against
very
West Ham. Do you start him? Yeah.
After that 20 minutes cameo, I don't think you can get a better 20 minutes than that. You know, if you brought on £100 million striker, they couldn't have done any better than what he done. No. And I think what it done for me was it sort of took the shackles off of Trossard, who was.
It wasn't his position, was it? But
No,
you put him out on the left.
Wide, he looked a lot more dangerous. Rice and Odegaard come into the game a lot more. Certainly, Wanyeri was exceptional all game, but I just think that not only did he score the goals, he made players in and around him play better. I'll be very, very surprised.
But there is an argument to still not play him from the start.
What's that?
Is that you can see that with the game state that it was, that he was very effective coming off the bench. And the other side of it is that we do have another. If we lost him, you've got to rotate a bit. Are you going to play him every minute of every game, or are you going to see?
Well, according to you, it's a masterstroke, so it should be all right, isn't it?
Well,
and you say play all the time.
No, I didn't. It's not a complete opposite.
No, I think you're right. But you've only got 2 games and you've got a break, Julian.
Yeah, and also you've got Sterling, who really hasn't performed.
Well, you're putting all your championship hopes on him performing now.
I wouldn't, but the difference is you can take him off if it's not working. But once you've made that sub, he ain't going anyway. There's only one player I've ever seen get subbed.
As you said, we're light.
Yeah, we are
just
like,
backing.
but then you can also Calafiore is another one that I think could potentially play that role, or you can have Tierney. I think could come on and do a job on the left.
Well, I
and it's
can
not
name
ideal.
3 players that would play better than Sterling. I'm not even a go at Sterling.
And I'm not saying
Shinchenko.
Yes.
You've got Tierney. Calafiore, and also Miles Lewis-Skelly could play and do a better job than what he's doing on that
exactly.
side.
So what I'm saying is, you think there's no options, and that there's
options.
that you've called it a dereliction of duty.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm saying that between us, we've already come up with some options. There is some options. The other thing,
options other than Sterling,
Julian,
listen, there's always options. They've got a squad.
Yes.
So you can always have
and
options,
I think the squad has been excellent.
Right, and the squad has been excellent this season. But we've had a problem up front. Not just in January.
2 players
for
gone
a
down.
while, right?
2 players gone down for the whole season.
2 players out for the season, right?
Yeah.
And you know that in January, early in January as well, and you bring in nobody.
Well, 3 if you can't
that is a total dereliction of duty. You are now asking, right? You are unfairly asking players that don't even normally play that position to come in and try and win that title for you, right? To come in and do the jobs that experts in their field are supposed to do. When you had a chance in January to go out there and bring in somebody who could play in that position, so it is a dereliction of duty. You
can't defend the January transfer, Julian. You can't defend it.
I'm not.
How?
I'm not.
Well, you are. You're just trying to defend it.
But I'm not going as far as saying it's a dereliction of duty. Because what I'm saying is that, well, for me, it hasn't been proven yet that it isn't, is that what they've done, they've put a squad together. I mean, you said experts in their field. The only position I would say that's an expert in its field is being a goalkeeper. I'd say, if Raya went down dinner for subs goalkeeper, then, if they put Marino in goal, then of course that's ridiculous. But the players that they've put together can play multiple positions. It's not that much of an expert. You've seen Marino. I just came off the bench. No one told me he was going to play up front. I scored 2 goals.
So when was the other time you've seen him play as a striker, or with your research, tell us the other times he's played as a striker in his career?
I've seen him score goals and get into those positions.
No, Julian.
I've seen
Julian. Because there's many players. Saliba scored goals. Gabriel scored goals. Kivior scored goals. You tell me. When you've seen, or your research, you tell me when he's played as a striker in his career.
I have seen him play a role and play in a way that I know he can play as a striker. I haven't seen him play as a striker up until those women. He's got the natural ability to be able to play that role. You've never
seen him playing that role ever before in your life, right?
I've seen some of the goals he scored.
It's not about goals he scored for Spain. Right? Because, we could play Odegaard up front. We could play. You could say that for every forward player. He's not an expert in that field. And then even when you add into it, right? This is where I say it's a dereliction of duty. You've got 2 players that have gone down, right, and they're out for the season, right? Then you've got a player in Sterling that he's been in a horrible form since he's come.
Yep.
So we're already short, even before the injury to Havertz and injury to Martinelli. We were all saying we need to bring someone in. We need a striker. We need a forward. We didn't get nobody. Then those 2 go down. Yeah. It's a dereliction of duty. It's a dereliction of duty. The planning is not been there. Now they're praying that Marino can do a job. They're praying that a 17-year-old Wanyeri can do a job.
Well,
they're praying at all these things.
And you're even saying like, I don't know if we can play Marino this week because we might get injured for the next game. Like, you've got at the end of the day now.
But I'm not saying.
So if you're saying you're short,
it was bad. But I'm not.
You can't say that they're short because you're saying you're happy with it.
I'm not. I didn't say I was happy with it. I'm just not going as far.
What are you saying? I don't know what you're saying.
As extreme as a dereliction of duty. What I'm saying is that there was.
Do you think they should have brought somebody in January?
Yes, I've said that.
Okay, that's dereliction of duty, then, isn't it?
No, it's.
Were you shocked that they didn't bring anybody in?
I wasn't shocked. I was disappointed.
Come on, you were shocked.
So you don't. I
can't believe they didn't bring anybody in.
Yeah.
I was
Exactly.
I was disappointed that they didn't. But there's.
Why are you disappointed?
But just because you have an opinion on football doesn't mean it needs to be an extreme opinion. So I'm not defending it
not having an extreme
massively.
opinion.
Well, I think you are, because you've
think-
said it's a dereliction of duty.
That is a dereliction,
As in
my
you
opinion.
should be out with a ball, off with their heads.
No, I think number one, this is another thing where I think this is another big problem that I've seen at Arsenal. And again, it looks to me like I've seen it played out in front of my eyes. Edu's left, sporting director. They brought nobody in. Nobody. We can all see that. And then January comes when we desperately need a forward player. Those guys that are there have not been capable to go and get someone in.
Okay.
They tried for Ollie Watkins, didn't get it done, and have not been able to get anyone. So what? Who are these people? Why didn't they go and get a sporting director in when Eddie's left now for quite a while?
Yeah.
Why has nobody come in?
All right.
Again, another thing that I'm looking at and thinking disorganised, a bit of a mess.
I can give my opinion on that, of the reasons why I think that is. It's not like the sporting director role is a different contractual situation than players. A player, you just bring in and bring out. They have to have what's called gardening leave, and it's the same with Edu. You could criticise Forest. Why haven't we brought Edu in? Because contractually they can't.
No, they can't, but we can. We can bring someone in.
Okay, depends who we want. But if the person we want, normally the people you want, they're not just sitting around waiting for you. They're already in a job. So they're probably going to have to give...
Go and get them out of a job.
Okay, but they're probably going to have gardening leave as well. A notice period. They might well have already started that notice period. But obviously the person they want isn't available. And
but ultimately they got nobody in.
Well,
yeah, and then we saw in front of our own eyes now, right, that we needed to bring in a forward player, as I said, and these guys weren't able to find nobody in the market. Nobody at all, not even a loan, nothing. Whereas somebody like Monchi, who's Aston Villa, a very experienced sporting director, was able to bring in, as I said, Asensio, Rashford, Daniel Marlon, you know what I mean, make several signings. And then I look at these guys and I'm like, well, are these guys experienced enough and capable enough? Because I've said it before on another show, sporting director, it's a very important role, and you need someone who's very influential, somebody who can pick up the phone to another club and say, that player you got, and carry weight with it, like what David Dean used to do, like what probably Edu was doing as well. Who have we got? Who?
At the end of the day,
and as I said, I'm just going by what I'm seeing playing out in front of my eyes, because I'm not there in the boardroom, I'm not that, but what I can see playing out in front of my eyes is these guys weren't able to get anything done. Right. Universally criticised. When you got a manager come in every press conference saying, we've got to bring someone in, we need forward, and we get no one.
And the other thing is, them down the road, like, they're all protesting and all that about their ball, and they brought 3 players.
They brought 3 players in. They needed a defender. They brought in a defender. They needed a striker. They brought in a striker. They brought in a backup goalkeeper. Right? We ain't bringing anybody, and we're going for something. We're going for a title.
What hurts?
We're still in the Champions League.
What hurts me as a fan is that the ball or the owners and that spent more money to get into the Champions League than when they've actually spent to try and win the league.
Is that their aim? Because we saw those figures come out yesterday.
It does tell you
about record turnovers for Arsenal.
It does tell you that
record turnovers for Arsenal, and record turnovers in almost every department, like record turnovers in receipts for tickets. Record turnovers in brand deals and deals they're doing. Record turnovers in everything.
Yeah, but then business isn't just about revenues. Business is about revenues against expenses. It's called profit. Yeah. And Arsenal still posted a loss.
That's a minimal loss.
It's still a loss. It's still a loss.
Julian.
It's a less of a loss.
You know, in this football business, right? We had a football expert, finance expert, actually, on last night.
Yeah, I watched it with James.
Yeah, he was brilliant, right? As he's breaking it down, that's a minimal loss.
Yeah, but it's still a loss.
But compared to what we were losing before.
Yes,
it's a loss.
It's amazing.
Every football club is allowed to lose over a 3-year period. Allowed to lose about 115 million pounds, I think it is, something like that. Right? We've lost 17 million. We've got loads, as he said, we've got loads of money to spend. We had loads of money to spend if we wanted to in January.
Yeah, and
why didn't these guys go and get the forward player that was needed? I don't get it. I don't know. It's a dereliction of duty as far as I'm concerned.
The reason I didn't get the person that we all wanted and whatever, because he's not available, we get that.
Someone else, get a loan.
Yeah, that is the thing. Get someone in to just back it up. And I'm not here saying that in January we should have gone and spent 100 million back, because I'm realistic. It wasn't going to happen. But what we needed to do was bring some backups in. Maybe not as good as what we've got, not what really ideally Arteta wanted. But at the end of the day, can I be really honest and say, Mikel, did you really, really want to go with Marino up front, but you chose to do that in the field? So why couldn't you just been a little bit more, okay, I'll back down, we'll take this player just to help us out, because Julian's right, we are going to have to rely on someone like Sterling. And what I see in that performance against Leicester, this is not playing against Real Madrid, this is not playing against Nottingham Forest, this is not playing against Anfield.
I think it was his debut, wasn't it?
And you couldn't do it. And listen, I felt for him.
It was sad.
It was sad to see, like, you know what I mean? Like, but I think somebody was saying it, that he needs to be playing, otherwise we haven't got a chance of winning the title if he doesn't pick his game up. But I just don't see how he's going to do it. Like, and realistically, do I want him to be trying to pick his game up against West Ham on Saturday? I'm afraid not. You know, maybe in the Champions League, playing with Champions, because you've got two opportunities to get over it, to win.
Julian said earlier that, you know, I'd rather start him because you could always take him off. So you're acknowledging there that there's no backup. You know what I mean? Because you'd rather start a player that's on poor form just for the fact that you could bring somebody else in who might have an impact. That just goes to show, because if a player's normally on poor form like that, right, you wouldn't even play. He'd be sitting on the bench. You wouldn't get it, like what was happening to him earlier on in the season.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at the opposition of who we got Saturday, and I think that, look, if you don't start him, I do agree with what your friend said about that, you've got to, you know, to get him into form. If you just take him out of the team, that's going to be it. He's almost like another player lost. You've almost got to play him into form if it's going to happen. It doesn't look like it is going to happen, but you know, I would start him, and
you'd start him against West.
I'd start him against West
So what's your
Ham.
front three?
I'd have the same front three.
It was totally ineffective against Leicester.
Totally ineffective, and if it wasn't working, what the difference that I would do, I'd swap it at half time if it wasn't working in the first half.
See, this is what I'm saying. That's why it's a dereliction of duty.
It's only 45 minutes in.
That's what I'm saying. Lee, do you see where I'm coming from when I say dereliction of duty?
I see where you're coming from. And look, listen, Julian's trying to make excuses for it, but there ain't no excuses for it. We're relying on somebody that isn't quite up to it, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
but we play him anyway because we got no choice.
Well,
I don't think we do. I think that we play him back in, try and get him into form, is if we're please be 2 or 3-0 up against West Ham, the game opens up, get him into a bit of form, that maybe play him.
And I'm on the fence which one. I
get it.
It's not an easy choice. You can argue for it both ways.
I think we're going back to the Leicester game. If you really go, listen, we all went it wasn't a very nice day weather-wise, was it, and everything like that. For 70 minutes, we were sitting there.
It's dreadful.
I was yawning. The crowd was just about to turn.
They would already turn.
The turn night, you know what I mean? And what did I turn around to you and say? I said, we'll get one more chance in this game.
Yeah, and the moment you said it, we scored.
But what I'm saying is, it was dire.
Yeah, it was dire. But when you look
at, that is a worry for me, that going forward, I just felt in that 20 minutes that Marino just changed. Maybe that could be the, dare I say it, the turning point of everything of our season.
It could be that.
It could be that he just comes
Paul
in.
Warhurst moment.
Yeah,
as
like, you know, I like to think back
because he's got those attributes that can make him a striker.
But you don't want to start him.
I'd give Sterling one more chance of seeing if we can play him into form. But I'm close.
As I said, I'm sticking to my dereliction of duty. Even if we go on,
what's your front three, Lenny? the one that finished
the front three's Marino down the middle now, right? Because we've got nobody else, and he's just scored 2 goals. Trossard, he looks way better on the left. He put in a great delivery for the goal, and we've seen him putting in good deliveries like that this season. He's done all his best work on the left, right? And Nwaneri, who's the shining light of Arsenal, was absolutely brilliant in that game. Who's like right now, is our best player up front, right? On the right hand side, and we're having to rely on.
Can I put a scenario to you? Like, you know what I mean? I was very impressed with Calafiori when he came on.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he did very well.
Very well when he came. I don't think like it was just Marino, by the way, that came on and did. Maybe for me, I'd put Calafiori at left back and
Skelly further forward.
Skelly further forward.
Would you have him instead of Partey?
I wouldn't. I think Skelly has done.
No, just to get Calafiori in the team as well.
Where would you play Skelly on the left?
Yeah, wide
wing?
left. So,
but why? Why would you do that? Well, Skelly's been defensively.
No, I'm just saying,
brilliant.
as an option.
I wouldn't
as a substitution option. Because I think Calafiori and Lewis, Miles Lewis Skelly will alternate that position.
I think if anything, and you wanted to do that, I'd play Calafiori further forward. I think Skelly has been brilliant defensively. He made that brilliant defensive tackle, that interception in the game at 0-0, which could have been a different game entirely if he hadn't made that. And I think defensively he's been solid. He's been so strong on the ball. So to me, I keep him at left back. If anything, you could bring a Calafiori further forward, because I love the way Calafiori picks up the ball. He drives with it.
I thought he was impressive.
He's got a good cross on him. He can come inside. He's very physical. You know what I mean? So he could be an alternative as well, maybe instead of a Sterling.
Yes, this is interesting. Now we're all coming up with different options within the existing squad.
That we shouldn't have to have been coming up with those options. That's the thing.
But you're coming up with the options, and you're coming up with credible options. You're giving good reasons why they can play there. They've got the skills, but you're still saying it's dereliction of duty.
It's dereliction of duty. If Liverpool would have been in the same situation,
of duty would mean that ultimately they have been the ones that have put the squad together. Every single player in that squad.
But they didn't put those players together. They didn't put Calafiori together to play as a left wing.
They played them they brought them in as footballers that can play multiple positions. And that's
every footballer can play multiple positions, right?
The way that squad's
it'd be like
together,
if Liverpool, for instance, said, all right, you know what, Salah went down injured, and their whole front attack was out, and they go, it's all right, we'll put Van Dijk up front as a striker because we know he could play there. We'll play Trent on the wing. Of course
play on the wing.
Yeah, we know you could do that, but it'd be an utter dereliction of duty if you didn't then go out there and try and bring in proper players that play there week in, week out.
Listen, I totally understand Julian's argument, right? If this would have happened outside a transfer window.
It's in the January transfer window.
I get that, but you had a window. You had a window to address that. That's the thing. Like, I think at the end of it,
just to save money, these guys.
2 years ago, when we lost Tomiyasu and Saliba, we had to try and find ways within the squad, and at the end of it, we didn't. And you look back at that and go, well, it weren't really a fail. I actually thought it was unlucky. It was actually. I think if we go through the same sort of scenario now, and we don't get over the line, I think hold on a minute. We had that transfer window.
Yeah.
I always go back to the summer, right? When we was in that press conference, right? When Mikel Arteta was asked, why did you sign Calafiori? I've said this before, right? And he said, we signed him because he can play as a centre back. He plays for smash up studio. He plays centre back for Italy. Can play as a centre back. He can also play as a left back. And he goes, last season we got lucky. Those were Mikel Arteta's words. Or you probably think he's lying about, because everything that he says, according to you, is a lie. But that's what he said. He said last season we got lucky, right? There was no injury to Gabriel and Saliba. Right? And he goes, so we got lucky. Right? So now what? We're relying on luck again.
Yeah.
And that's
But
to me, when you're running a football club like Arsenal Football Club or Liverpool Football Club or Manchester United or Chelsea or any big club like that, where you're in a position where you can still win a league, still win a Champions League, and you buy nobody, that is a dereliction of duty. You are gambling. You are just hoping and praying that luckily something might happen.
Luck plays a part in football.
Can I ask a question? Do you think Saka will play this season?
No, I don't. From the information I've got, I think from what the last conversation I had on the subject was really positive, and it was described that he's healing like Wolverine. I don't know if you sort of understand the implications.
Well, they're saying that he could be back at the end, towards the end of April.
Yeah, but then
right. So, which is the doctor that I spoke to. What we've had on there, Dr. Andre, he said it's a 4 to 6 month injury. That would sort of correlate to that.
Yes, but that's exactly what I
heard. Like the last few games in May, he could be available.
What was said?
No, you said he's out for the season.
No, but what
you've been adamant about that. You said that your doctor friend told you that.
But the situation's fluid.
You're changing on that as well now.
Well, I'm saying to you,
I don't think he'll play.
His healing. I'll tell you what the latest I've heard is the healing process has gone much better than they expected. However, they think he will play again this season, but he won't be able to start. He won't be as you want him.
Well, it's
90 minutes, and he could be able to come on as a substitute.
That's pretty obvious
in some of the games, but he won't be starting.
That's pretty obvious. I think
so he's kind of could be.
I think any player coming back from surgery, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to start straight
away. But 4 surgeries in the last. Oh no, we've had Jesus had to have surgery. Martinelli. Yeah. No, sorry, not Martinelli. Havertz, Saka, Tomiyasu.
And Reece Nelson, if you call, he's an Arsenal player, isn't he?
Well, this is again a bit of a dilemma now for the summer, right? Because Reece Nelson's just had surgery. Like Cecil said the other day to me, right? He said every time I go on Instagram, all I see is a footballer in a bed going like this, right? He's just had surgery.
It's unbelievable.
But he's had surgery, so we're not going to be able to sell him. Reece Nelson would have been sold this summer. There would have been some money coming, probably from Fulham or wherever. They're not going to be able to sell him. They're not going to be able to sell Jesus. I think he would have definitely been going in the summer. They're going to have to now,
Tomiyasu couldn't give
and Tomiyasu as well. You're not going to be able to sell him.
For a year. I short-term contract.
Yeah. So that's a dilemma on the spending again when it comes to the summer, because I think those 3 players.
I will say something about this hamstring thing, because we see Reece, didn't we? At the Fulham game, right? He could hardly walk when he'd done it. He'd done it the week before, didn't he? Right. So when was that? December?
I think it was December.
November? Didn't know. We see he could hardly walk.
December.
Felt he had to, and he said
he didn't have crutches, did he?
No, and he didn't have surgery neither. So his weight. He's obviously tried to be rehab.
He tried to come back, I think, and then
he's gone down again. So you have to say that Arsenal for made the decision with the Havertz and Saka one very, very quickly,
because it was totally detached.
I think he was in the same position, Reece Nelson. So don't forget, we was talking to the doctor years ago. They didn't have this surgery, did they? Michael Owen would have. If Michael Owen was playing there, he said he would have had the surgery, but he didn't, and that's why it kept going and going. So. There must have been the option there.
And with this surgery nowadays, it can actually make it stronger.
Yeah, make it stronger.
But listen, it is what it is. We've got what we got. Going into that game against West Ham, how are you guys feeling? They beat us last year at the Emirates. Remember that?
Bloody nervous.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Paqueta might be out for them.
No, he's definitely out. So I did my own little private box to box yesterday. I phoned Nicky. He didn't say hello, Julian. He saw my number, and his opening statement was three easy points for you, so don't need to know anything more.
Yeah, but he said that before. He said that last year.
But I then said, okay, tell me why. And he went on, and everything he was saying was negative about West Ham. I said, there must be some positives. And he says, they've started pressing a lot more effectively since Potter came in. And that was about it. He said also, Paqueta's definitely out.
Yeah, Paqueta's out. And he's been playing really well since Potter's come in.
And also, when you look at their position, they're just in football no man's land. I think they're something like 10 points off of relegation. They're not going down. And they're 16 points off of European places. If ever a team had little motivation,
No, I
it's
think they'll be
West Ham.
motivated. They'll be driven. It's a London derby. They'll be
Well,
driven
and
to win this
also
game.
the Declan Rice
And the
thing
Declan Rice stuff as
changes
well.
things up from
Yeah.
A
point of
little
view.
bit, but still, they've not got. If you play against a relegation
does this
team,
all the time. He just
no, but
dismisses teams,
I'm not
doesn't he?
dismissing. But what I'm
You do.
saying is that because anything can happen in football, is that you'd rather be playing West Ham than probably Leicester at the moment because Leicester are still fighting, or Wolves.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But also,
And also
it
they're
means that
full-
they can come here with a little bit more freedom.
Didn't
That's
really
the
have
other
much to
side
play
of it.
for when they played us last year, did they? Right? They were struggling, weren't they? Right? And then they come to our place and turned us over.
Just after Christmas, wasn't it? Just like,
Yeah.
it was meant to
If
be
you remember
boxing.
that game, right? It was 2-0 up and they missed
And
the
they
penalty.
got so lucky.
They missed the penalty as well. They could have been 3-0 up.
Could have been. It could have been. But that game, we had so many shots. That was just. I thought we were seriously unlucky with that game. And also the other games recently, when we've gone to their place, we've hammered them.
Yeah, we have. But I'm just saying.
It's always
Yeah.
a different
different game.
because
Yeah.
they can. The way that West Ham will play is our weakness. They're sit in, defend,
they'll sit in.
and we you know.
and they're good on the counter attack. You know what I mean, they've got.
And that is our weakness. So I
Jared
listen,
Bowen's
every
back.
game I worry about.
And,
that.
and also he said a big weakness for them, if he plays, is Mavropanos. So you obviously made a few.
made a few.
yeah.
Defensively,
So,
they've not been strong.
They haven't been very good defensively.
I mean, all I'm doing is I'm going on.
But then our attack is not as strong as it's been.
Yeah, but I'm speaking about West Ham, and I've done research. I mean, I've done my normal. You know, I've looked at their last game. I've looked at their current form. I've spoken to one of their fans who watch them every week, and everything that I've heard would indicate a 3 points for Arsenal.
Yeah, well, listen, we should win. Listen, let's have it right. We should win. Arsenal on form at the moment. I think this is where, again, it's a dereliction of duty, right? Because these men, they could have brought someone in to really then push home on top of that. We haven't lost for 15 games. We're on a 15-game winning, well, not winning, but 15-game unbeaten.
Last home
right?
game with Man City.
Right?
Yep.
We've been playing some great stuff.
That's our dereliction of duty. To you're turning a positive again into like it's their fault. And
No,
the players
if we
they've
don't
put
win the
on
league,
pitch-
if we don't win the, listen, we could have brought in players and not won the league as well, right? But they have not given the manager
The best opportunity.
the best chance to win this league. And for me, that is a dereliction of duty. That is something you had a chance. It's like Lee said, it's January. It's not February and thing where you can't do nothing about it. It's January. When you go to your manager now and say, yeah, we're going to give you a little boost. You're doing all right, little unbeaten streak. Here now, take this player. Go on, have a go. And let's see. But to me, it's almost like they looked at it and thought, yeah, let's save a bit of money, you know, because if we go and get that player, he's going to be a lot. If we go and get him, he's going to be expensive. Let's wait until the summer on that. And Mikel, try your best. That's different when you're a winner. You don't have that attitude.
I also think you'll give him Mikel a free pass on this.
Well, listen,
I think he had options.
we don't know how much he was.
Yeah,
If he's involved, it's a dereliction of duty on his part as well.
Yeah.
And then it's a
100%
dereliction of
involved.
duty on his part as well. But all I keep saying is, all I can go by is that every press conference, he's coming out and saying he needs something.
Sometimes as a manager, and maybe it's a little fault of you can have too much faith in your squad players. Maybe he thought,
because they become your friends, don't they?
yeah, he thought of it. No, I'm gonna listen. At the end of the day, I don't think Marino, if I've been really honest, has done anything to justify the transfer fee at the moment, whether it be injuries, settling in, or whatever. All of a sudden, that 20 minutes has justified him being here. So it might be like now that's his position in going
Well,
forward.
let's hope.
He done it with Havertz.
Yeah.
Let's hope he does it. You know, he can do it. Let's hope he can do it. You know what I mean? But that's what we're hoping.
Well, no, I actually see things last week.
He did well.
That made me think that it just wasn't like, you know, hope. I liked the way he brought in the likes of Rice and Odegaard on certain things in that 20 minutes. You know, the goals for me were more of a plus than anything, because it was the all-round players, a centre forward, what we needed. He gave us physicality in there. All of a sudden, we got wide players that when they put a cross in, it could happen. For the added bonus was that the finishes were two class finishes. So I do feel that he gave me a call. What I need now.
Show me it again.
Go against West Ham, win that game 3 or 4, and then do you know what I mean? Because I'm on the edge here, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know.
Well, it's a game, you know,
at least you're on the edge, whereas a lot of others were, and this is what I didn't get. People around us, and I'm sure it was true of the rest of the crowd, is they'd been judged already. They hadn't lost yet. And
no, but you know what it was, Julian, right? It's a spillover from...
Yeah, it was a transfer window. Of course it was.
Because you've had fans, right? You've had fans, they've been, since that transfer window ended, you've had fans who've been raging.
Yeah, there was a frustration of that. Like.
About what they saw as a dereliction of duty, not bringing anyone in, right? So they've been raging. So when they sat there and they saw Sterling and his performance, and they saw how toothless we were for much of that game. For much of that game, they were saying, "See."
Well, I think like we had a few behind us. They were they were moaning all the time, but they weren't. It was probably after 20-25 minutes.
It's almost like they're looking for the excuse. It's like, right, 20 minutes, right, we can start now.
No, I think you're being a bit unfair to these fans.
Listen, we even sat there. Come on, you got to admit that. After, I think it was at half time, we turned around and said,
it wasn't great.
This is the worst. Yeah. It was boring. It was this and that. I understand the fans being a little bit moany about it, like, you know. But there was some that were
you know what?
He looks like Daniel Levy. I think he's turned into him as well. You know what I mean? What are you on about? You know why the fans were upset? Like they've been carrying that
from the beginning.
Yeah, but
I understand
that. They've been carrying that since the transfer window. But I can understand it.
All right, but here's what I understand, that they're not like me, but I'm not going to judge them until something happens on the pitch that's bad. And what's happening on the pitch?
But they were seeing it for 70 minutes. That's why they were getting upset.
But they started criticising from, you say minute 20, I say minute 5. When they arrived.
Well, I didn't hear them for that much.
I heard them. It's like they're in my ear. They're right behind me.
Well, you maybe just had some particular people behind you, but to be honest...
Well, I had a few to them right, which was my mates.
I spoke to your mates half time. And
they'd gone.
They'd gone. He was like, I told you.
They'd gone. He was disappointed about it. I won't mention his name, but he was so disappointed with the transfer window. And then he had 45 minutes. He said, I know I've enjoyed that for 45. He was so bad that someone, when we scored, someone tapped him on the shoulder and said, "You're happy now, are you, mate?"
But it's like, I look back at him, he go, "You know what's going to happen at half time." He's going, "You know what's going to happen." No, I don't. You know. I don't know. Why don't you just watch the game and see what happens? No, you know.
He come up, Julia, right? And I'm not going to mention it. And first thing he said, "You happy with that, are you? You happy with that, are you?"
But then he kept saying, "You know what's going to happen."
Julia's going, "Not really happy about it." You know what I mean?
But that's what I didn't get. It's like he knew in his head it's already happened.
Yeah,
it's already happened.
All right, tell us what's going to happen Saturday, Julian.
2-0 to Arsenal, a bit of a scrappy game, but we're going to win.
Who scores?
Sterling.
I'm going 2-0, and I'm backing Marino to nick one and a set piece. I do think that's going to become key now. Our defending has got to be good. Don't forget our last 2 away performances, 2 clean sheets.
Yeah,
very, very good. But we've got to become a very, very hard team to beat. Keep it tight. Defensively, keep very, very strong. I think that, listen, we've got a very, very strong midfield, very, very strong defence. They're our strengths, so keep working on them.
Who's scoring then?
I'm going to take a gamble like Saliba. You know, it's always Gabriel, but I think Saliba's about time he come up and nick one. You know what I mean. So I'm going to go Saliba and Marino.
Okay.
For the goal.
I'll go 2-0 as well. Because I can't see us scoring loads of goals.
No, I don't think. I'd be very surprised if we score more than 2 to the end of the season.
Yeah, Marino and Wanyeri. Right, because Wanyeri cutting in. By the way, how good was he? But he's been superb so far, and it's going to be really interesting when the England squads get called up. Right? Would they?
Oh, no. I don't want him playing the under-21s and
I think
the
Lewis
under-18s.
Skelly could get a call up.
I don't want any of them.
Yeah, because they haven't got a left back, have they? Really, England,
and all that's got to be taken into account as well. Games, international games. How many of our players are going to be?
I'll tell you what, Wanyeri.
Don't worry, internal solutions.
Wanyeri's been playing for the under-18s, isn't he, or under-20s and all that. Like, I don't want him playing for the under-21s. So look, I love it and all that. Like,
he will.
I know, but like, I don't want it. Please, just leave. If you're not going to put him in the senior squad, leave him with us so we can get rest.
He will be playing.
He'll be in one squad.
Yeah, and I think Lewis.
And hopefully pulled out of it.
I think Lewis Skelly will get called up too, right? So, but anyway, we look forward to the game on Saturday. Let's hope that Mikel Marino can come up with another masterclass as well. It's a massive game for Arsenal. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for Arsenal to bring it within 5 points ahead of that game against Man City, and then watch and see what if Man City can do what they did against Newcastle. Could they, even another draw might be not a bad result for us.
Do you know what I think I'm going to be saying now? Liverpool's toughest game was against Villa, not this one.
Well, I think there could be a bounce back after they went out to Madrid like they did. They're still a great team. They've still won. What did they beat? They beat Newcastle.
Haaland was sick, innit? So he could be back for that game. So
defensively, I think that they will.
Yeah, a bit all over the place defensively.
They've been all over the place all season defensively.
Let's get your prediction in that game.
It's that City, Liverpool, isn't it? I'm going to go City win, 2-1.
City win 2-1. Let me agree with you for once in the show.
You agreed with me at 2-0.
I think it'd be a draw.
All right, take even that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe here to AFTV. Also, don't forget to like this video, and we'll be back next week with another Invincible podcast. The Invincible podcast. Myself, Robbie, and Lee Judges come together once a week to discuss all things Arsenal. Straight talking, considered discussion, brought to you by the fans of the only club in Football League history to go invincible.